Your family can't wait around for your internet to catch up with your lifestyle. You need the mind-blowing speed you can only get with Revon broadband internet.
Mom? Mommy?
With speeds up to 70 megabits per second. Watch more, listen more, talk more, work more, and play more, all at the same time. Switch to Revon today and get 3 months free installation, and a chance to win a grand prize worth more than $5,000. Revon broadband internet. What are you waiting for? Join the revolution.
Good evening, everyone. This is NB12 broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Here's what's making news tonight. The chairman of BEC says nearly everyone's lights will be on by June 1st. Shane Gibson discusses NIB bonuses. A social activist starts a shouting match in court. Plus, the Bahamas beach soccer team on the cusp of making history. Those stories and much more on the way. I'm Nakia DeVoe, and NB12 starts right now. Joining us here at NB12. Even as the Bahamas Electricity Corporation struggles to turn a profit and continues to butt heads with its workers' union over pay, its chairman has announced an ambitious new mandate. That is to reconnect just about all of its residential customers' power supply in just over 2 weeks. Before that, BEC will launch an aggressive public relations campaign to inform consumers of its new assistance plan. Leslie Miller says this mandate was set by the Deputy Prime Minister. Vonig Toot reports.
BEC's chairman estimates that 7,000 Bahamian households are currently without electricity. However, Miller, who is confronted by struggling customers daily, says he's determined to change that. He revealed that government has set an ambitious goal to reconnect most, if not all, customers' power supply by June 1st. He met with the corporation's Consumer Affairs Division on Wednesday.
And I have given him a mandate, as was enunciated by our minister, Philip Brave Davis, that it is the government's wish and his personal wish that no Bahamian be without electricity. We're going to go on a very intensive public relation program to get every single Bahamian who's right now out of electricity to be on. And we're hoping to do that during the month of May. That come June 1st, if not all Bahamians, the majority of them will be on with a scheme that they could afford.
Miller says BEC's records show that the majority of residential customers without lights have electricity bills of $2,000 or less. The plan is to create new packages that would make it easier for them to pay those hefty bills off. For instance, he says those people who owe BEC that amount would have their power reconnected if they pay $400.
We're going to come up with some new packages that those persons whose bill is $4,000 and less could come into BEC and give us a check for a quarter of that amount. They would be returned. If your bill is $3,000, you can come with a fair amount, your bill would be on. But we are asking you to then live up to your commitment that all your future billings would be paid on time. And in fact, we come up with a new scheme where those persons who pay their bills on time would get a reduction, a 5 to 10% reduction.
He made it clear this assistance program does not apply to commercial customers, whom he claims owe BEC in excess of $50 million. Miller revealed one business owes $10 million. But how can the cash-strapped corporation afford to reconnect approximately 7,000 homes in under a month when it stands to lose $40 million this year?
Cash will be off financially strapped, but remember, if you're off, you're not paying anything anyhow. So we're trying to incentivize them. That would be an incentive for them to come in and sit with our personnel to go on a plan that they can pay their bills in whatever manner they can that is reasonable.
The new assistance plan comes weeks after Miller revealed that BEC plans to reduce consumers' bills by up to 10% by summer. Reporting for NB12, I'm Vonig Toot.
Meantime, President of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union, Stefano Green, is accusing BEC's chairman of resorting to bullying tactics. Miller confirmed on Thursday that BEC's line staff union had taken legal action, but warned that the corporation would have to lay off staff if it was forced to dish out more money on pay. Green, who is off the island, defended the union's decision to take legal action to stop the implementation of a rostering system. He says this move was based on the advice of their attorneys after the union had informed executive management on several occasions that it had violated their agreement. The BEWU president is unfazed by threats of job losses, insisting that government is trying to create jobs and wouldn't let BEC employees go. He said the union would continue to protect the rights of its members, adding that he is confident this ongoing battle will end in their favor. Well, Minister of Labor and National Insurance Shane Gibson commenting on what many have called questionable executive bonuses, the National Insurance Board. Several executives at NIB pocketed more than $700,000 in bonuses between 2010 and 2012. Now, Minister Gibson is reacting to the auditor's findings that those bonuses were never approved by former Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham, who had ministerial oversight of NIB.
It's unfortunate that it took the government to change for those things to be exposed, but those bonuses were being paid for a while. I just believe that it is absolutely disgraceful that social security monies will be used to pay bonuses. It's not like a private company where you generate profits. The only thing you're doing is you're doing what you were paid to do. It's unfortunate that you would try to inject private sector practices with a social security system.
While he would not say exactly how he discovered the bonuses, Gibson did reveal that they were not paid through the regular NIB channels. Instead, he says they were paid for from a checkbook. Gibson says that form of payment kept the bonuses a secret from other NIB staffers. According to Gibson, he put a stop to exorbitant executive bonuses shortly after the Progressive Liberal Party came into office last May.
They sent several messages to me asking me to put it back in place, but I was adamant that it was wrong. It didn't have ministerial approval. We have no evidence at all that there was ministerial approval, and so we stopped it.
In other news, human rights activist Rodney Monker was rearraigned on a charge of committing a grossly indecent act by posting a picture of the corpse of a man who died in police custody on his Facebook page. The rearraignment, which Monker started a shouting match with a judge about, came after prosecutors decided to now proceed with the case by preliminary inquiry. Our Jasmine Bonamy was in court and filed this report.
The decision to proceed with Monker's case by way of preliminary inquiry instead of the expected voluntary bill of indictment enraged Monker in court today, prompting a shouting match between Monker and Deputy Chief Magistrate Carolina Bethel.
On April 4th, Monker, a 56-year-old Market Street resident and former DNA candidate for Bain and Grantstown, was charged with committing a grossly indecent act between March 1st and March 29th. The prosecution alleges Monker posted autopsy photographs of Jamie Smith, the man who died in a cell at CDU, on his Facebook page. The prosecution said it intended to serve Monker with a VBI in order to fast-track the case to the Supreme Court this morning. However, police prosecutor Ursula Dorset said they decided to change course and proceed with a preliminary inquiry. Monker, who was shouting and objecting to the preliminary inquiry in court, insisted he had a right to respond to the prosecution. After nearly 10 minutes of back and forth, the deputy chief magistrate, who had to shout over Monker, who was also flailing his arms, warned him that if he continued to raise his voice, she would, quote, have him removed from the court and placed in the cell block. Bethel said she thought that the VBI would be a quicker route, before indicating she had no open dates to hear the preliminary inquiry until December. She then asked Monker if he wanted her to refer the matter to another magistrate with a more flexible calendar, to which Monker replied, "Your worship, I don't want you to have the case. It would be a major conflict of interest." The matter was then referred to court number 2. There, Magistrate Constance Delancey rearraigned Monker on the same charges. He pleaded his case, saying he was a grandfather who was prisoner to those 2 women who signed his bail. before asking that his $7,500 bail be reduced. Monker, who was representing himself, also requested access to his file so that he could know the details of his charges. Before the matter was adjourned, Monker called his case a show trial and insisted he was being placed on exhibition. Magistrate Delancey said the bail conditions would remain the same and ordered Monker be given a copy of his file. The preliminary inquiry is set for August 15th and 16th. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Bonamy.
Counterfeit items like bags and wallets have been noticeably absent from straw vendors' stalls since the opening of the $12 million downtown straw market in December of 2011. Outgoing chairman of the Straw Market Authority, Ron Pinder, says while government has been successful thus far in keeping knockoff goods out of the market, tourists are often lured out of the cultural center and taken to nearby stores where those items can be found in an abundance.
A lot of the common infractions, such as soliciting tourists from outside of the market or on the streets, facilitating the sales of knockoff bags, selling illegal paraphernalia, such as cigars, knockoff items, etc.
Pinder, who is being reassigned to the Office of the Attorney General, says the current board has tried to eliminate such practices by approving a new ticketing system. He noted that vendors who break the rules of the market are fined or issued a warning by compliance officers.
The fines are up to $100 on this ticket form. But the more major infractions come before the disciplinary committee of the Straw Market Authority Board. But what we have sought to do is to make the enforcement of the rules and regulations of the Straw Market Authority more efficient, more effective, and more direct.
Government took serious steps to crack down on the sale of knockoff and pirated items in 2011, months after a group of straw vendors was arrested in New York for trafficking counterfeit goods.